Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining today's roundtable. I'm really excited to have you on board, Dr. Francis Kakura there, CHR, Terry Misheni, and Mr. Richard Magoma. I'm really honored to have you today. According to Gallup research done not very long ago, they say 85% of workforce globally is not engaged. Hence, our today's discourse on the round table about employee engagement. We all know from our experiences that employee engagement really tags to performance, and it's one of the greatest ways and known principles in human resource management that helps drive performance. So this employee engagement, how do we unpack it? How do we deconstruct it? My name is Damaris Ndungwa. I am a learning and development strategist, passionate about supporting managers and leaders struggling with challenges on how their teams function and how they achieve their goals and the challenges that comes along in that. I like supporting and helping them in making and creating teams that are performing, and on this note, fully engaged, that is. So welcome on board. To start us up, let's get well introduced. And Dr. you could start us off on this one.
Currently, I work for RTI International. RTI means Research Triangle International. It's a US-based research institute supporting US government in development activities in Africa and other continents. And in that organization, I'm the director, Institutional Performance Improvement Unit. And before I joined the RTI International, I was working for KPOC. I was the manager in charge of human resource services. And one more thing is that I have done some research on employee engagement, and I'm very, very passionate about this discussion. So thank you very much, Damaris, for putting this round table together for this discussion.
Oh, that's beautiful. I didn't even have an idea that you've done a research on this theme. That's really beautiful to hear. Thank you very much, Dr. Kagure, for that brief introduction. We get to know each other as we continue to dive in the discussion. Terry, kindly just a brief introduction.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Terry. How are you?
I'm good. An HR practitioner. Recently, I was working with SGR Operations and Maintenance, that is Officer Operations, as their Senior Labor Relation Officer.
Thanks for the introduction, HR Terry. Thank you very much. Mr. Magoma, please.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Richard J. Magoma. I am a seasoned HR practitioner. I've practiced human resource management for quite a while, but one of my interesting subjects is employee engagement. So I'm quite very happy to be in this discourse of employee engagement and what are the benefits of employee engagement.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good to see you with your buckets of energy as always, Richard. I'm happy to have you on board on this discussion. I'm happy again to know even regarding employee engagement, we have the right panelists on board. So the reason I decided to call it a discourse, not a discussion, is we get a lot of insights, definitions regarding even interpretation regarding employee engagement. And in these discussions, a lot of words pop out, and I think I listed a bit of that in the text I sent you. So you tend to hear employee engagement, and then soon down there you hear employee experience, satisfaction within the mix comes up, employee happiness. So what's all this? Where do they stand? And this is where now we need to get the convergence and divergence of all these aspects and how they play within the workplace. And I'm looking forward for this discussion. So what exactly is employee engagement? Our doctor, you've dived a bit deeper in the research, so probably you could lead us off in that.
All right, thank you very much. Employee engagement is a simple concept. It means that an employee is passionate, enthusiastic about their job, what they are doing, about their company, that's their employer. They like the employer, the organization where they are working. They like their colleagues that they work with. They admire them and they are supportive, and they also like their supervisors. So being passionate, enthusiastic about my job, being in good relationship with my colleagues and my supervisor, and being happy to work with the organization that I work for. That is what we call employee engagement. And of course, once we move forward, we are going to differentiate employee engagement from satisfaction, experience, happiness, motivation, and so many other terms that people use.
Great, great.
Employee engagement.
Yes, before you jump in, Mr. Magoma, allow me, because it's interesting, as even Dr. Kagure is saying, these things you hear enthusiastic about work, and happiness again pops out there. That's what I'm saying. So I don't know what's your view again, Coach Richard, because you seem to be jumping in, probably to add on something that Dr. Ria said as well.
Well, our employee engagement is the energy, it's the commitment, it's the extra energy that an employee brings into the organization because of certain conditions that have been prevailed in the organization. In a word, it's the extra energy. It goes beyond the 8 to 5 paradigm. It goes that I can add more because I love this job, because this organization values me. That is what we call employee. They are engaged, that you can see the love they have for the job and the organization.
Beautiful, beautiful. So it's an extra mile. It's an extra energy, which is intentional. Sounds like it's very intentional from the employee, and that tags closely with the being passionate and enthusiastic about their work, just like what Dr. Kagure has started us off on. Yes, Madam Terry, I know you're passionate about employee experience. Link us this, this one with employee engagement. What's your experience?
Yeah, to add on to what Francis and Coach Richie has just said,
yes,
I see employee engagement as I've already said, an emotional attachment, an emotional connection with the organization. As someone said about psychological contract that an employee has with the employer or the organization. And about employee experience, and I don't know if I'm going too fast, but for employee experience, I take it as the culture. We trickle down to the culture of the organization. And employee experience, as we all know, is about the attachment, or rather the impact of the culture to the employees. So for to attach employee experience and employee engagement, I would say it is employee experience is a route to employee engagement. You have to have a healthy employee experience with the culture for you to get to the emotional attachment, or rather emotional connection, or that an extra mile, the extra mile that the employee will go. We don't create employee engagement, but rather we create environments that is suitable for employee engagement, from my view.
Wow. Yeah. So this is exactly where the rubber meets the road. It is in the daily interactions, daily relationship we have in the workplace. The experience we get to have during the day in a work day, that experience is what defines our level of engagement. If I hear you correct, Terry, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, beautiful. Sure. Beautiful. Yeah. Thanks for adding that. So I don't know what the departure is for any other person, because that's my understanding from what Terry is saying. Is that the way you feel they are linked, Dr. Kagure?
Yes. I think Terry has brought it home very, very nicely. She said employee experience is the root to employee engagement.
Yeah.
Employees start by getting satisfied with their salary, with their benefits, with the environment, and whatever they experience on daily basis makes them happy. And when they are happy, they become passionate about the organization, about what they do, about their employer, about their supervisor, because of what they are experiencing. And therefore, they become engaged with the organization. And I like what Richie Magoma said before. He talked about employee voluntary behavior. We call it employee discretionary behavior. They are working because they want to work. Not because they are paid, not because they have been told to do something, but they are doing it because they are passionate, enthusiastic, energetic, and they want to do it. That is engagement.
And that's the emotional connection. That's really the emotional connection. Beautiful. Thank you. Richie, bring up your yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to add that experience is the onboarding process, the life cycle that an employee gets from onboarding to last time. So as Terry said, it is an experience that generates the engagement. So it is how you onboard an employee from the word up to the last time maybe the resign time.
Coach Richie, we are missing a lot of your very juicy good statements. You're breaking. Are you there? Your connectivity seems to yes.
Engagement is the onboard. It is the life.
Oh, it's even been thrown out from the connectivity point of view. This technology is interesting. So Terry,
there is a point that he was bringing up. I got it in passing. He is talking about employee onboarding. He says experience starts the first day you step into the new office.
Yes.
The way you are onboarded, the experience that you get the first day is very, very important, and the way you walk the journey up to the time you exit the organization. And he is back actually.
Yeah,
yes.
Welcome back. You have been thrown out by your connectivity challenge, but welcome back. Dr. Kagure is actually bringing a very core concept about the way we bring on board employees in the workplace. I don't know exactly that's what the point you were on, Richie.
Yes, exactly. But what I was saying is that employee experience starts from the onboarding process. It's the life cycle of an employee from the time this employee was onboarded to the last bit where they leave the organization. Is that the experience? It's what they experience during their life cycle within the organization.
Pretty good. Terry,
this is what they experience during the onboarding.
And it does affect the level at which they feel engaged. It does affect that. Oh, beautiful. Yes, Terry, go ahead.
Sure. On top of onboarding, I take it as an extension of the life within the organization, the entire life cycle of within the organization, because it is not again an event to create employee engagement, but rather a whole span of life cycle for employees. So on my side, about employee experience is how well are our employees in the policies, structures, the culture that we have, remembering that the culture is how things are done around here, how things happen, the behaviors within the organization. We need to understand deeply about the behaviors within the organization, the structures, the policies that are in place, so that we can again measure or rather understand how the employees are melding with this kind of structures, or rather the culture within the organization, for us to create the employee engagement. I still insist, it's not an event, it is not a one-time thing that we need to do within the organization, but a whole it's actually a cycle. It's actually
it's like
an
a process,
ongoing
it's a
process.
strategy. Okay.
Can I say something, Damaris, about that specific point? Because it's so important what Terry is saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to give you an example.
Yes.
During COVID-19,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of employers have come up with programs, initiatives to support employees to continue being productive.
Okay.
So one of the things that employers have done is to support employees to continue working from home. As we speak, I'm working from home. I've worked from home from March last year.
Oh,
And
okay.
what employers did is to come up with ways and means to support you to work. They came up with ways and means to help you to protect yourself. And they introduced programs in the workplace to support employees. What that tells you, if the employee experience was not good before, whatever much you tried to do during COVID-19, some employees still left because they don't trust the employer. If they trust the employer, the culture has been good, the system and policies have been working, people have settled down. When you try to do something and the employees are very wise, they are very bright, they'll see as if you are not genuine, because that is not the experience that they have. You cannot change overnight. So employee experience is very, very important from the beginning to the end. So that even if there are drastic changes, employees still trust what you are doing it out of goodwill. So that's a very important point, what Terry mentioned before.
That's so real, you know. And the other day, actually, I heard someone talking about the experience they are having in keeping their employees really meaningfully engaged. And somebody threw a very interesting statement in the mix and said, if you had been disconnected, not concerned and caring about your employees before, you do not expect them to be so engaged at this point. In fact, they will just prove the same culture they were in. They're not going to trust you overnight. And that really points to that concept very well. So this employee engagement it's vital, it's very critical, it's important. It acts closely to performance because it is a direct impact. I mean, it's direct connected to the bottom line or performance we have. But yet we have this, I don't know, confusions or misunderstandings, because I think Terry mentioned that earlier. You get to meet managers or leaders in the spirit of creating engaged, happy, and of course connected employees to the goals. But you look at the initiatives and you feel they are so diverging to the essence of the importance of employee engagement. I don't know whether any of you have had the experience, but really I keep on wondering what is happening. What causes that for anybody who has had such an experience? Coach Richie. Richard.
Sorry, come again.
I don't know whether you got me or I was hanging
come
like, okay. No.
I go and as we prepare,
you're
hanging. Meeting
in
the next few minutes.
Yes.
And I know we had about 15 minutes for this round table. Now, Damaris, what you are saying is very important. Let me give you an analogy.
Okay.
You build engagement.
True.
It starts from satisfaction. I'm satisfied, therefore I become motivated.
Yes.
I am happy. And all this is being contributed into by the experiences that I'm getting from my environment.
Yes.
And therefore I become engaged. Recently, and this is important, I read an article from Harvard Business School. The article is so interesting. It says, you know what makes your employees to leave. Do you know what makes them stay? This article is talking about engagement. We always think about why are people leaving? That's historical. Yes. Think about what makes them stay. And there are three things that make people stay. One is the fit, employee fit. And when I talk about fit, I'm not only talking about the job fit, I'm talking about how well my values fit the values of the organization where I'm working. That will create a connection.
Yes.
I'm also talking about fit between me and my team. If I don't fit in the team, don't expect me to perform. Okay?
Yeah.
The other thing, and really people and employers think about this, the community around the environment. If you want your employees to stay, think about the environment. Are they connected to the community? So that's why employers nowadays are introducing community activities to create that connection.
Mm-hmm.
So that every time an employee thinks about leaving the organization, they are not thinking about the salary, but they are thinking about what they are going to lose. They are going to lose friends. They are going to lose good environment. They are going to lose nice community around. And they are going to miss what they do on daily basis because they are so connected with what they do.
Yes.
That is
Not to take
very
you back,
important. Yes, Coach Richie.
Not to take you back, I didn't get the question that Dama was asking, but
Yes.
it's something she has mentioned, which is very vital towards building employee engagement: transparency and trust. If there is no trust, you cannot just create it in a second. It is something that you build over a long time. All right. I just wanted to add something that she said about creating trust and being transparent.
True.
Especially in your communication, in how you reward, in how you recognize people, such.
And that forms actually the culture that I think it's Terry who mentioned that, because if the culture doesn't have an effective communication that brings in the transparency, then we have a problem. We will start being suspicious and mistrusting even our managers or even our leadership. And that does affect the level at which we engage at the workplace. Thank you very much, Richie. I love the pointers Dr. Kagure is bringing on board. Actually, especially the last point, that most of the time we actually rarely think about the community we exist and forms part of the ecosystem from which we work in. And that brings in the level of prosperity and actually purpose for which we do or we exist as an organization. It just doesn't, it's not confined within our organization, should really flow over to the community. Thanks about that. I'm learning, I'm excited. Terry, you look like you have a burning thing there.
No, I actually wanted to take you back to what Francis has just mentioned about employee satisfaction.
Yes.
Compared to employee engagement. Where there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of misunderstanding in ourselves and even within the organizations about employee satisfaction and employee engagement. Employee satisfaction, as I had said earlier, allow me to go back, is about what Richie said in the group the other day. It's about transaction. You said it is transactional, yeah?
Transactional, I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
And for me, I would take employee satisfaction as a normal, the status quo, as employees doing what is just required to do. It's just there to happen. Like, you are there to do, there's no warning, there's no manager who is coming to ask me about what is happening. I'm just doing what I'm required to do. And as Francis has said, all these things from an engaged employee start from a satisfied employee, of course. So as you get to employee engagement, you start from the area surrounding, then employee satisfaction, then you get to employee engagement. Some of the things that we are doing to mitigate employee engagement are actually for employee satisfaction rather than for employee engagement. But we leave it at employee satisfaction, yet we want to achieve the goals for employee engagement. I think the question would be, how do we go an extra mile? As we said, employee engagement is about going extra mile of an employee. How do we get an extra mile? How do we go an extra mile to satisfy, to get to employee engagement and not leave it at employee satisfaction?
Yes. Actually, I concur with that. And that's a point actually most of us managers get. We've deployed maybe an engagement sort of a survey, we get the results and tada, we have the report. But do we go the extra?
Yes. I say one point, Damaris.
Yes, I know we are running out of time. Daktari, go ahead.
I'll do 1 minute or so. Now, satisfaction You are paying me a good salary. I have a nice office, including parking, wherever. I'm satisfied. Majority of employees who work for people that you see around big companies, they're only satisfied and they are not engaged. They got stuck to the payroll. They are paid well. We have not taken care of other factors that are very important for the engagement: supervision, culture, policies, etc. So that's the difference between engagement and satisfaction.
Oh, that's it's home. One hits home so much. Don't remind me, some 2 years back, we did a survey that showed most of the employees are so satisfied. In fact, it had the highest, the lowest turnover rate for employees that have worked for over 40 years, and they don't want to leave. But when you look at the performance of the employees in the last 5 years, it's been going down, down, down. But these people don't want to leave. And I was puzzled. Then satisfaction doesn't necessarily mean engagement. That tags into performance. And then this discourse. So does being happy really and satisfied necessarily mean I'm going to perform and get engaged or connect to my goals? What do you think? What do you think? Mine is, I think, not necessary to.
Dr. has brought it.
Happiness in this all employee satisfaction. I don't know what he meant, because happiness can be wide. Yeah. I'm happy without.
I can clarify.
Certainly do.
I can clarify.
Yes, for just less than a second. A minute, coach.
A mediocre employee will be happy. But an engaged employee will not be happy because they want to go the extra mile. But me as a mediocre employee, I could be happy with my 1 million, a good office, but I'm not really engaged to go the extra mile because I have a car, I have where I can park, but I am not going the extra mile. So there's a difference between being contented and being engaged.
Okay, thank you for that.
That's very hilarious. It reminds me, the other day I went to somewhere in the village market, and when I entered in a shoe shop, I saw some lady was trying to reach a shoe, and she was really struggling because I guess it's about my height, we struggle with things up there. But we helped take the shoe. But when I was leaving that shop, there was this gentleman, an employee, who had earphones just like me and was really listening to a very nice music so happily. But I actually wondered and asked myself the same question. He looks very happy, by the way. But is he really connected to the work? And I got the answer right there. Absolutely. Being happy is very wide. It's really very broad. Thanks for that, Coach Richard and Dr. I know we wanted to dive a bit into the differences, but I think they're coming out as we engage and talk about the realities in the workplace and where these things fit. So I hear you, level of engagement is really not necessarily driven by happiness or satisfaction. Experience is very key, because that's how we get connected to our goals, including the emotional connection, even to the organizational vision or the purpose of the organization. And but we're not saying happiness is not important. It's part of it's core, again, in the workplace, as well as being satisfied. So they come along. I get why these words pop all the time. I do not know whether there's someone with a different perspective, because that's what I'm taking home as we wind up this.
Maybe, Damaris, to conclude, there is a point you have brought up, and very important. Maybe you can extend by 3 minutes or 5 minutes and discuss this. Okay. How does this tie into performance?
Exactly.
If I have a small shop, what I'm looking for is sales. I am looking for performance. I don't just want people to be happy, satisfied, engaged, blah, blah. It's performance, is work. So how does this tie to performance? Simple. An engaged employee who is happy with his work, happy with the organization, happy with the supervisor, happy with the environment they want to achieve. They think about their work. They want to please their employer, and they want their employer to thrive. When they walk into the streets, they talk about their employer. I like my employer because of what they are doing. And therefore, I will spend extra hours to complete the work of the employer that I really like. You are in love with this organization, and therefore you do everything possible to make it shine. That is how people perform. But I'll tell you one thing, because majority of my employees are just satisfied and happy, they don't go to work, they report to work. And when they report, they expect you to tell them what to do. An engagement employee goes to the office to work and they work, and they don't wait to be told what they are expected.
That's true. That's true. Fantastic. I just like that that's iced it. I like it. It reminds me of the 4 levels of engagement, because an engaged and committed employee is exactly the one who translates and tags that to performance. They love what they do and they are connected. In fact, they own the organization goals like the way they own their own, and that is fully engaged. While the others can be engaged but not committed, yes, I would love my work because I love the pay pack. I love I have a parking, like someone said here in the workplace. I'm satisfied and happy, but I may not be committed to the global goal of the organization, and that's very true. And again, we also get this neither engaged nor committed. Like Kenyans say, wako too within the organization, and the dangerous ones who are actively disengaged. In fact, I read a research the other day done by Gallup that was saying over 85% of global workforce is actively disengaged. No, they said is not engaged, meaning they are not engaged nor committed. And I think that reflects a lot even in the workplaces we work or engage in. In the light of performance, is very dangerous. So that brings the essence and the very pivotal role of employee engagement in the workplace. Very key. It's very key. It's tied to bigger things. It ties to the culture. It's tied to the leadership. It's tied to all these things that help us drive the objective of the organization. And for that, say, is performance or profitability. Actually, that's what makes organization really exist. Yes, so I know there's a lot we can discuss about this, but I want to ask one question. One way we get to know how we're doing in terms of employee engagement is through those employee engagement surveys. Who is the right consumer of this report? Just so we do it and we cascade every objective there rightly. Who is the right consumer of that report?
I could say, since engagement is another way of saying partnership, I could say that it's a collective consumption, because the CEO, the heads of department, the employees have an interest in what is going to be the end product of the engagement assessment and survey.
So all stakeholders.
I agree with Richie, and just to add one point. The immediate consumer are the decision makers. And the decision makers here, I'm talking about top leadership. It could be the board of directors, it could be the executive committee, it could be the leadership. They consume this organization because they make decisions about the performance issues that they want to handle. But as Richie says, everybody requires this information, because employee engagement survey, you are going to cascade a questionnaire to everyone in the organization. If you want employee engagement to succeed, you have to give feedback. You have to come back and say, Francis, you filled the questionnaire on employee engagement. These are the results. And therefore, I know where I stand in terms of engagement. So I'm also interested in this feedback. Where people go wrong, and I have seen this happen the many years I've worked in HR. We conduct employee satisfaction survey, engagement survey, but then we don't go back to the employees to give them feedback. Like here, you come back with that survey, you get 20% response rate. You want 80, 90% to make decisions.
True.
So it is very, very important to go back to the employees.
That's very true. That's very true. I completely agree. Simply because you just came, we engaged, you never came back to tell us how you're doing. It becomes another HR project that it doesn't benefit us. We don't even know what happens or what you do with the report. And I've seen that a lot. Terry, what's your thought?
Maybe if I can actually join what the two have already said.
Yes.
I think the consumers, as Richie has said, is all the stakeholders. But now the drivers is, I think, would be the key issue. Who are the drivers of employee engagement? All trickles down from the C-suite level downwards, especially the management levels. We are the people to bring it down, to understand what is it that we want, what are these surveys that we want, why would we want it, then trickle it down to the employees downwards. But rather, what I'm saying, the drivers are from the top management going down, then the consumers, as Richie said, all the stakeholders within the organization. I think the factor time, the question would be the one that you asked, Damaris, how are we doing it right? Are we doing it differently? Is it something that is a standard way of doing things for us to acquire the employee engagement from industry to industry? But what I would say, and I'm actually saying this because I want to leave this particular meeting, I'm rushing somewhere.
Yes.
The bottom line of the employee engagement and how to package it, how to package and deliver it within the organization is by understanding the organization temperatures, understanding the organization setup and the behaviors within the organization that would lead us. There's something I'm doing currently. Actually, I'm doing my master's in industrial psychology as a course. And what I'm getting to understand is by understanding the values, the behaviors within the organization will actually give you the best strategies to leverage for employee engagement matters. So it cannot be one, it cannot be like written on paper, this is how we do it, this is how we'll do it to achieve employee engagement, employee satisfaction, but as per the individual organization and how things are done and what improvement or what, how can you, I was telling you the other day, Damaris, like Safaricom, they are doing this, what did we call it? They care for the kids that.
Oh, the creche. Oh, the one for the baby.
Someone will take that and copy paste that to the organization, thinking that this will actually improve the level of satisfaction or level of engagement. But no, it doesn't. It might work well, but again, there is a probability that it will not work for that particular environment. So for me to leave, allow me to say this, understand the organization, understand the temperatures, the setup, the values, the behaviors, then you'll be able to understand or work with the other team members that are within the organization for you to achieve the best. Again, I'll talk to what I'm passionate about, employee relations. The relationship within the organization matters a lot about when you want to achieve the employee engagement. With that, allow me to be.
Oh, that's such a hot parting shot. That is a hot word, parting shot. And I agree. Organizations have their own uniqueness. But that's interesting thing you're saying there, because we tend to copy paste, including even these surveys we do. We just copy paste from another organization. Yet, what really we need our employees even to get engaged to is completely different. Even maybe what motivates them to come to work are equally different, you see. And then therefore, the question you're saying, asking ourselves, are we doing the right thing? Are we even deploying the right tools to get the right answers for us to make the right decisions? Fantastic. I hear you. Thank you very much. This is a bucket of learning. I'm telling you, I'm excited, Terry, there of your parting shot. You've grounded very well. Thanks. We are actually winding up. I know it's a deep discourse, like I called it a discourse. Coach Rich, I don't know whether you want to add something before we call it a shot.
To eliminate chances of a misconception of between employee engagement and employee satisfaction, it is important for us to be engaged in this kind of discussion so that we can be able to get the nitty-gritties of this concept so that we cannot misunderstand. Because when it is misapplied, it means we can't get the results, and it's because we didn't learn.
True, true. So you endorse such discourse to go on. I think they crack some new knowledge and a better understanding, hence better application of the knowledge we get. Thanks very much. Dr. I think all of us have had immense contribution in this. So I don't know what is your parting shot regarding this round table?
Very important, but I support the coach here who says let's continue with the discussion. And I'll tell you one thing that has really impacted HR practice. Employers are competing in terms of salaries. When Francis would like to leave Damaris as an employer, Damaris would say, let me add your salary so that you don't leave. That detains people at satisfaction level, no improvement, you don't develop any talent. And you as an individual, if you are running after money, you don't grow. Because workplace is not just about money. It's a whole lot of issues that people are looking for. And that is why Terry said, every person is unique. And we need to consider those unique situations. So thank you very much for this.
Thanks as well. Thanks for showing up. CHR Terry, thanks for showing up. You've had put in some immense contribution to this. I believe and want to believe all of us, including myself, we actually have picked 1 or 2 points that we can, go saying, wow, this one we picked from that discourse. And yes, Coach Richie, Dr. Kagure, it's important. And I'm thinking again, we can also extend and proceed in the discussions, because I actually wanted to ask also, what are the emerging employee engagement trends coming up with this disruption? Because definitely things have shifted. We have research telling us, even in 2025, the workplace employee will constitute over 75% of millennials. Does that change the way we engage in the workplace? And a lot of things, but yes, we will keep on discussing. I am so excited about this cracking knowledge way of doing it. So thank you very much, Dr. Kagure, CHR Terry there. Thanks for showing up. I know you had a lot of things you're doing today, but you still showed up. Coach Richard Magoma is gone to hiding, but I know he's behind there. So thank you very much. Really, I appreciate you're showing up and the contribution you've made in the discussion. I'm really humbled, and I've learned equally on that. Thank you, and I think we've extended the timeline, but thanks for your patience. We will end it there. Bye-bye.
Thank you.